Well, thank you for joining me. Brand image, customer experience, customer engagement. Now, we're talking about the engagement side, not just with customers. Now, this is going to be a two-part video. I'm going to do one part, and obviously I'm going to share it with my good friend Jonathan, and Jonathan's going to do another part and share it on mine. Now, the reason we're doing this is we talked just briefly recently about the employer and employee branding and what is critical and what is important. And obviously, talking to Jonathan about it, he's very much into the recruitment side, very specialist niche field that he's into. And we were having quite a lot of conversations over the last few days. And we've been trying to work out how the synergies fit. Now, you're going to have to bear with me on this. In my world, the transport, the haulage industry, the small business world is very much about having your brand, your identity, and having a good face to the customers. Now, Jonathan was getting me to engage with this, that the employees are as critical to that in the tech sector. So, luckily enough, we were interjected over the weekend with a conversation from, mutual clients. Now, this is where it comes back into my world, so you're going to have my perspective. The haulage industry, transport industry, do a great deal for charity. The East Coast Truckers, the Walk for Wounded, they do a lot. And the Black Cabs, my good friends in London that run the Black Cabs, they do charity rides out to the coast for underprivileged children and the disabilities. Now, that's absolutely great visually. Outside, people are looking in going, aren't the trucks doing a great thing for the children, for the underprivileged? But this is where Jonathan was trying to get me to think. Every single one of them truck drivers has a brand, has an identity, obviously the name on the truck. So externally, it all looks great. They're doing the East Coast Trucks, they're doing the truck shows, Truck Fest, Peterborough Truck Show, all these big events that look amazing. The trucks are all cleaned, there's pride from the drivers. But this is where it's slightly changing. Jonathan was saying is a bit more critical internally. Externally, the business is seen in the right light. The trucks are clean, the cabs are clean, the drivers are dressed in uniform. WAPO, what a great company to work for. Customers think they're great, boom, boom, boom. Jonathan's saying this is where it changes, and when you want to engage a driver, you want to employ a driver, he's not just going to be looking at how good the business looks and sounds. He's now going to be listening to what other drivers are saying. So we were chatting at the weekend to one of my good taxi friends, and he says, and we have that problem. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, we do this big charity run. We take all the kids down to the coast, either South End or Brighton, a couple of hundred cabs. It's great. People love us. People cheer. He said, but that's when the drivers that have got the identity or the branding or wherever it happens to be, then start talking amongst themselves. So the general public don't hear the conversation, but your potential drivers start to hear other drivers either talk down or talk up a company. So I said, please carry on, because obviously Jonathan's now all ears. Drivers talk to drivers. Now, whether this be a truck stop or whether this be a parking area, a services, or whether it's the cabs meeting at a train station or a taxi rank, drivers will talk to drivers. So although the car might look great, the taxi might look great, he might be clean and smart, but it's the mental attitude of what he's then saying to other drivers, potential employees. Now, obviously, Jonathan was all ears with this, as you can imagine, because he is a recruitment specialist. He goes in and makes sure that process, getting the right candidate and everything else is there. But as he said, in my world, drivers get to talk to drivers. People get to talk to people, and it's those drivers that you might have that you're going to need in the future. So it's building up that identity. Now, as a boss, as a manager, it's understanding not just have you given the tools to do the job. Now, in Jonathan's world, very techie, a little bit more. But in my world, have they got the right trucks? Are the trucks serviced? Are the cars serviced? Are the cabs serviced? Can they clean them? Can they wash them? Can they hoover them out? Can they take pride in them? Have they got daytime uniform, nighttime uniform? What are the provisions you're giving them? Well, that's nice and easy. You just look at the trucks and the truck firms. But it's the mindset of understanding what those drivers are saying, not just now to the customers. They're delivering on time. Yeah, we know that. We understand that. They're delivering with a pride. They drive smart on the country's roads. but it's now what they're saying to other drivers that is critical as to whether you're going to build that business up, whether you're going to be able to go out and get new employees when you need to. Now, I've spoken much in the past, and I've had to change the language slightly, that I talked in the past about an internal terrorist, somebody that was in your company and on the outside was looking great, but on the inside they've got niggles. They've got kind of like, I'm upset with that and that's annoying me. And they're getting to the point that they're being a bad apple. But it's how quickly you can understand that and nip that in the bud. But it's also understanding how your staff think, the psychology of your staff, the NLP. Do you give your staff enough training, enough support, enough encouragement? Is there a structure in place? Now, we know that working in the office, and Jonathan will explain this, that there's a different structure, there's a different way of working. Now, when you've got lone workers, and I use the word lone workers for the taxi drivers, for the truck drivers, the haulage industry, the transport industry, these guys and girls are going out at least for 9 hours a day away from the base. Now, some truck drivers in the haulage industry will be out all week. They are living in solitary confinement and, a 6 foot by 6 foot box for up to 45 hours in a week. They can drive 4.5 hours before they get out of that box for a break. So are you giving them enough equipment? And obviously when they're out there, they can, in some respects, they pull up to a truck stop. If they're not in a good mood, they're going to tell everybody. And they're going to tell everybody it's your company's fault. So you need to kind of understand what you're giving your staff. Not just the tools and equipment to do the job, but are you giving them constructive support mentally and emotionally? They're going to go out and they're going to deliver products, whether it be B&Q, whether it be a building centre, a garden centre. You're asking your guys and girls to go out and make deliveries, represent the image and the identity of your business. But they might look smart, they might have the right kit and tools, but mentally, what are they doing for the future of your business? So that's easy enough for my part. Jonathan will talk to you about the techie world, the recruitment process, something that I don't get involved in. He'll talk about how the process should be and the best way of making that process work, not just for the candidate you've got now, but to build bridges so that other candidates want to come and join you. So this is my part where it talks about making sure you've got the support in place, and obviously the transport and the haulage sector send their guys out with the right equipment, the right truck, the right clothing, but it's what they say when they're out there. And as a business owner of a truck firm, you're sending your guys to shows, which is great, the image looks good, but it's what they're saying to other drivers that could make the difference to your growth in the future. So bear that in mind. So I'll then tag Jonathan in. Jonathan can make his little video on the recruitment and the employment aspect, and then we'll get together and do a video together where we bounce a few ideas off of each other, see how that goes. Anyway, the sun's out, gonna finish my coffee, get back out and carry on what we're doing, and we will catch up soon. Take care.